I've started so many times to upload video to YouTube. I've actually went as far as to make them and never upload them because I find that I just get on here and ramble on. There is so much information and so much to talk about. It's hard to make it concise and summarize it. But this time I'm going to actually try. I'm not going to go into my own personal story of being a targeted individual. If you go to Eyes on You 910 in YouTube, that's pretty much tells my beginnings. What I want to get to, that I feel every targeted individual and every human being needs to know, is the global agenda in our targeting. This is definitely not your local law enforcement only, and not your security companies perpetrating these crimes on individuals. This is a covert program of the New World Order and the CIA. The CIA acts as the New World Order's bulldogs. They function to help the New World Order take over the world globally, with all their insurgencies in other countries, taking them down, killing the leaders in the countries, and buying up the corruptors in other countries, and installing police states in other countries, because the New World Order agenda is not only control and dominance of the masses, but also to reduce the population to a number they feel they can control in their global dominant plan. So, my dog, she's scared to come in here and bother me. Go away. Go. So, targeted individuals need to look at the global situation of their targeting and not just the local. Seriously, you're not going to find any results locally because they're under the control. In America, after 9/11, when the New World Order and the CIA with Israel help caused 9/11 in America, as they do, the New World Order and the CIA causes these fake terrorist attacks globally to get their agenda done. And their, once again, agenda is global dominance. They wanted the Patriot Act, which was written decades before 9/11. And they attempted in the 60s to get this, to do this, but John F. Kennedy didn't want to have anything to do with it. That's what his whole speech is about, actually. But this has been a part of their plan from the beginning. So pretty much all targeted individuals know the technology being used on them now, the radio frequency technology. It is coming from your neighbors. You know, I don't know why different ones keep trying to take that away and put it on satellites. Well, as much radio frequency particle material and tags that exist in America everywhere, like on your telephone poles and your parking meters and everything, if it was satellite, because this is directional technology, it would be beaming everybody to death, okay? it would be, has to be really, really strong to cause the pain that you feel as a targeted individual. It's not satellite. Now, they can track you with satellites if you are chipped, but that's not where your pain's coming from. So I wish people like Duncan and Hall would stop singing that. Okay. The radio frequency technology transmitting equipment has been honed down to a cell phone software application. Who has this technology? Well, Department of Defense and CIA and NSA gave it to local law enforcement. When Homeland Security was created from the Patriot Act, it was staffed with all CIA personnel. I know that most Americans don't know that, but that's who's running your country now, is the CIA. And we know they have a history of doing nothing but destroying country after country after country. Like the New World Order hides behind them. They hide behind the security companies. They hide behind the military and that kind of stuff to do their dirty work. They're hands-on, but they stay behind the scenes where you can't see them. Okay, I want to stay on track. So, those of you who are chipped, they do the remote neural monitoring. They're doing the mapping of your brain and trying to program your brain to think and feel pain and to, when they're sending frequencies to you. And this is, there's different sites that talk about your brain has the power to overcome the programming of the brain that they're doing when they're bombarding your head with frequencies. The people who are your problem, or our problem, is the New World Order. That's your Rockefellers, your J.P. Morgans, your Ted Turners, your Bill Gates, your Rothschilds, and the list go on. When they have the government officials meet with them at the Bilderberg, their global agenda is, like I said, global dominance. And they go about global dominance by destabilizing the governments, installing people in there that will do their bidding. And they spend a lot of money. The CIA has a covert black op budget, through all the numerous reports of drug trafficking, sex trafficking, and all the other things they are involved in, then it's quite extensive. So don't think it's beyond their ability to pay other governments to help them in their covert black operations. Your targeting is a part of a covert black op program of the New World Order carried out by the CIA. When I said that Homeland Security was staffed with CIA personnel, this explains why when Napoleano took this program globally, she bartered with countries and offered money to keep America's interest and to help them. Now, of course, her verbiage sounded nice as she was holding these conferences globally, but the true nature was to keep us who are targeted continue and victimizing us no matter where we went in the world. So these bartering agreements that Napoleon made was always intended for illegal activity against individuals. So I can't think of one country, except for Iran, that didn't sign up. The presentation was in the name of fighting terrorism. But as I said, there never were any terrorists. So that lets you know from the beginning it was always meant for this corruption global takeover and trying to make it impossible for their victims to have a refuge away from their illegal torture and terrorizing and attempted assassinations with the radio frequency technology. And so, these lunatics, the New World Order, have in their mind, in their global dominance plan, to take over the governments of the world. And then, to keep control, they feel they have to reduce the number of people in the world to the 500 million. That number in their heads is the perfect number for being able to control those that remain that they can enslave. And they have in their crazy plan to use artificial intelligent robots, which the DARPA program already has, to run the people they have enslaved and everything else. There's a document from the NASA website that has been brought up before, but they keep trying to keep it quiet, that actually talks about this. And they actually talk about killing Americans on American Street doing primetime television on the NASA website. So you can research that and search for it in the internet. And then they talked about doing this globally. So these lunatics, our plan is working like a dream, frankly, in my opinion. But they're running scared. They're running scared because more people in America and in the world are waking up. They're starting to see past the whitewash propaganda lies that the New World Order shoots out of Obama's mouth, John Kerry's mouth, CNN's mouth, and Fox News' mouth, and they're different propaganda wheels that they use to deceive the entire world. So it's like they're in a hurry to get things done now. And this election in America that's coming up is going to be a game changer for one way or the other. If Hillary gets in there, the world will regret it, bottom line. Because she's all about the New World Order. Her and her husband was groomed for them long ago. They're ace pals with the Bushes. And we know the Bush was president when they did 9/11, as he pretended to be sitting in a nursery school class. Give me a break. You know, they think we're dumb as rocks, that we don't have a mind to think. You know, we don't have a mind to see through their BS. But as more people are waking up, as targeted individuals, you are on a list. And since they got a global agenda, they plan on installing the FEMA concentration camps in other countries to have everybody rounded up. They won't round it up. The good thing is, there are countries, leaders that are waking up and saying, whoa, 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 wait a minute. We never agreed to killing all the people you want to kill. Russia's one of them. And China don't like them either. In fact, there is an Asian population that is sitting, waiting to attack the New World Order. If you search on the internet for the former financial manager of Forbes magazine, who the New World Order targeted when he became a millionaire, and threatened if he didn't join them, they were going to kill him. Same thing they did to Oprah. Well, because he telecommuted for years from Asia, they watched him as they approached him, and then they came and talked to him and told him that they would help him and back him up. And he said that they have plans to attack the New World Order as soon as they see the New World Order forcing Americans into the FEMA camps. So thank God that there are other nations and other nations of power and even covert actions going on against this hostile takeover of the world for these lunatic mega corporate bankers who think they have surpassed humanity and are some kind of god deity. They're deluded. They're beyond deluded. You see these idiots go to the Bohemian Grove in Santa Rosa, California, and worship this 17-foot owl that they had carved out. And they do the little sacrifices. These are Satanists. That explains why they hate humanity so much. So, helpful information for targeted individuals would be there's so much we go through as victims in their secret, silent war on individuals. And our numbers are growing astronomically because we can't seem to wake up the rest of the world to their real agenda. But people who refuse because they're receiving benefit by your pain and your suffering, God got something special for them, don't worry. They will be the new victims, those that they don't kill in their global dominance takeover. They will enslave and chip them from the top of the head to the bottom of their feet and control everything, even the air they breathe. And they help them get that power. So, they're getting their just desserts as far as I'm concerned. For targeted individuals, they want to keep you isolated because we talk. We can't help but talk, especially when you realize there are so many people around you that are just potential victims for this. And the reason you became a victim is because other victims weren't talking. Nobody was waking us up to really what was going on in the world around us. So I left America because of the global agenda. They're starting it first in America, but they do plan on taking it worldwide. Hopefully, some of the world leaders, like Putin, will say, I am not killing off my people. Putin did the opposite. He's given incentives to Russian women to have babies, which is a total contradiction to the New World Order agenda. Planned Parenthood is a Rockefeller Foundation. It has nothing to do with teaching people how to be parents. It's all about talking women into aborting their babies. So, I don't want to lose the thought. So, okay. This is what I wanted to tell you. How do I know it's the CIA as opposed to DOD or the FBI or NSA? Okay. Well, my targeting followed me when I left America. Now I know, well, I worked in law enforcement and a sheriff's department, and I know they don't have the funding, the power, nor the manpower to follow anyone around the world, or even to other states for that matter. But to make a long story short, after being here last year, I was moving from place to place because of the targeting. And I moved into this one neighborhood where, who I know now to be the CIA, was trying to smuggle in to a building across from me, diagonally, a directed energy weapon. And I was filming it and narrating their attempts. Because they've done it so many times before, I was able to say what they were going to do before they did it. Because as targets, we are learned, if you weren't already, to be very observant to our surroundings. We can see when they come in and start infiltrating the neighborhood. We can see when they come in and start moving into the building, taking the apartments around us, underneath us, to the side of us, in hotel rooms. It's the same thing. The pattern doesn't change. And the technology they use does not change, contrary to what other people are telling you. Okay. Now, the technology is ever advancing, but it's the same technology that they use. And there's not all these different programs. No, it's the same program. And anyway, they blew their cover. I was busily trying to get a report together to take to the president's palace in this country, where I'm now living. And I had learned long before that, through the community policing members. By the way, they're your neighbors. When they recruited people in America and then they see something, say something, neighborhood watch converted into Stasi-style policing, they are the ones that are getting benefits for being a part of your torture and your surveillance. They're getting money, cars, backyard landscaping, for their participation. And they sign an oath, swearing not to divulge what they see and hear. They cannot report police corruption, and they cannot report other community policing members if they see them commit a crime. I have talked to community policing members involved in this. And when they are sent a broadcast bulletin on their cell phone saying that you are a criminal, the crime of choice by the CIA and the New World Order to label their victims with is pedophilia. And that's simply because it's the most egregious crime to humanity to victimize babies, of course. And the community policing members aren't aware that they're lying on you. But I have found even after they are aware, they will continue to victimize you. They say, well, they signed an oath. But it's an oath of corruption that no court anywhere would uphold. So whatever threat of punishment they are told about is a whitewash. It's just a lie. But that's not why they continue. They continue because they feel the empowerment of it. They continue because of the gifts, the gratuities, and the money. That's why they continue to do whatever they're told to do to you by the police. Only the police can send out criminal alerts to people's cell phones. That's a part of the program. So it's not going to change when you go from one country to another. The program remains the same. Everything remains the same. They need to have that consistency. Why? Well, like when they break into your house and they put the radio frequency stuff all on the walls, the furniture, your clothes in the attic if you have one, outside your house everywhere, in your landscaping, in your lights, in your electrical outlet switches, all of that. It stays the same. They do the same everywhere. And if you think about it, well, they would have to. They would have to keep it consistent, because when they got their sleeper cells, and that's the true sleeper cells that Bush was talking about in his speech, when he was talking about nowhere to hide, we're going to chase you, and all that stuff. He was talking about targeted individuals, and he was talking about community policing sleeper cells they have all throughout America and in other countries. When the CIA drops a dime, then they gather together against the victim. And if everybody was doing their own thing, like maybe putting the radio frequency particle stuff somewhere besides on the wall or somewhere outside, they wouldn't know how to target the person inside. They wouldn't know where to send frequencies. Now, this place might be a wall, the other place might be just the floors. So they have to stay consistent, for they can know all the time exactly where it's at, exactly where to send it. So that's why they need consistency. They need consistency because they use so many people. So many people have joined up with this. When I talk to community policing members, I said, did you join community policing to fight crime? So how did you become a criminal? How did you become a person who helps corruption? How did you become a person that stands by and watch people's homes broken into without a court warrant? How did you become a person who will enter someone's home illegally and apply a substance that you know is highly toxic, could cause them cancer and pain? It shows we're in the last days, spoken of in Matthew 24 and Mark 13. But those people, they got a rude awakening coming. Go away. They got a very rude awakening coming. And that is not only going to be in this life, but in the life to come. Because they're going to bust hell wide open. And you got a lot of people naming the name of Christ that are part of this. Catholics and Christians. They have no thought for their soul. Because there's nowhere in the Word of God can they justify being a part of the satanic program. So don't worry. They're going to get their just desserts, believe you me. God is not mocked. What a man sows, that shall he also reap. So, back to the CIA blowing their cover. Anyway, so I guess they got in a panic. Either they did or the police did. But they called out a government car, as it was like a government motorcade. It didn't look to be the president's because there weren't any of the decorative flags, or maybe they don't use those these days anymore because they don't want them to be targeted, but I know it wasn't the president. If the president where I'm at, if he gets wind of the CIA doing anything, he locking up folks. That's why the corrupt people in the police department that the CIA is paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to, fight hard against me keeping this away from the president in this country. So, anyway, they blew their cover because when the government card came out, there was a whole bunch of media there at the same time. And the police was all dressed in black like it was something official going on. So that's one of the things they do to your community. They use propaganda and they propagandize the neighborhood to look legitimate in what they're doing to you. But you need to open your mouth and tell the people around you really who you are. If they choose to continue with this program and targeting you, God got a special place in hell for them. But they need to know they're being used. And they need to know God's going to hold them accountable for that. Because they know right from wrong. Even if you were a criminal, it's wrong to torture you. That's why we have a justice system. That's why we have jails and prisons. That's why we have courts and judges and juries and tribunals for criminals. But you'd be surprised how many people will go along with your torture for money. Once again, another sign of the end times. So, I was filming this particular building where the CIA was trying to smuggle in a DEW. And the day after that event, I hear on the news. I used to have this radio station I listened to. I'd never turned it off. It was a Christian radio station. And I just kept on listening to it, and I would never turn it off. And the day that after, about, I think, this was done in May 2015. The 18th or the 19th, I can't remember for sure. And on the 20th, I heard this radio broadcast that the CIA is in a public building surveilling a criminal, something, 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 and then said the president's name. And I'm like, oh no, now you done shot yourself in the foot. Oh, they started blaring the horns and everything outside, trying to cover up the broadcast. But my camera was rolling at the time. And I decided the next day to go to the president's, but I was laid-waid. This is a country that speaks a language other than English, and I didn't have a thimble full of words to speak in their language when I went, so I was laid-waid. They used community policing members to set me in an office all day till the close of business day and send some girl in there in blue jeans, anyway. And I didn't go back because I didn't feel like I had enough language in me to counteract their sabotage. And so I'm still busy fighting this corruption here. Because what the people don't realize, if they continue to let the CIA corrupt their cops here, they're going to be looking at as many victims as America and Canada has. And in 2010, Examiner.com recorded 350,000 victims in America alone. And we know that there's hundreds of thousands in Canada too. So, this is a small country. They really are not going to want this nightmare taking this root and hold in their country if they have any good sense. Because look what it's doing to America. It's destroying it. But that's the intent. That's the intent of the New World Order. These local crazy people think if they just commit total chaos in the world, from it, well, they can come out as saviors. Dissonant frequencies to my throat. That's not going to stop me from talking. So like I was saying, out of this chaos, they think they're going to show up as the saviors when they're the one that created the chaos. And then go through this takeover of the countries and continue their takeover. And then start eliminating the masses like crazy. And they have so many different programs at work today for this elimination, but they're chiefly in America. So, I'm still pressing the issues here and where I'm at, because this is blatant corruption here of untold and unheard proportion. And these people don't know how evil the CIA is and the evil they have done to people all this time since their inception in America, though they started in Germany. So you have to do a history background check on the CIA. I know when I learned it, it blew me away. You know, the whole New World Order, Illuminati coming out of Germany, is just like, that's why they act so much like Hitler. You know, that's why experimenting on people is not, it's like drinking coffee to them. They're not human. They are demon possessed. So anyway, you should get EMF meters, EMF detectors on your telephones, your cell phones, and carry it with you when you go into the stores and things. And it's directional. If you got somebody standing next beside you, and you may not have any clothes on that got particle material and stuff on it, but you're in an aisle full of products, labels that are made from radio frequency particle material, the paper. And the ink is a conductive ink, so it makes that paper much stronger. And with the cell phones app, you know, they have to be within a certain distance of you to really affect you. But now, since the technology is fast advancing, that could change or already have changed. So you can't count on that. You confront them. I wouldn't care how many are. You have to confront them. You know, use your applications on your phone. Use your meters, you know, to show them that you know it's them. Because like the CIA are of Satan, the father of lies, they teach people to lie as well. And you will have these Christians and Catholics lying for this satanic, evil, wicked program. And I'm like, what Bible do they read? Have they not read where God says, there is a place preserved in the lake of fire for liars? It's like, where are their heads? You know, they don't think about their soul anymore. You know, they're so caught up with this. And you know, I know that the Lord said to me that he was using the New World Order's program with the CIA as a dividing line of the people in the world. Because this is a global situation going on here, thanks to the New World Order sending Napoleon to all the countries. And the CIA His offices are in all the U.S. embassies in the world. So that's why you continue to be targeted. And yes, Napoleano recruited the airlines. It was all done in the name of fighting terrorism, but it was always intended for this corruption. Anybody they target, people target. They get compensated for it, so they don't care. This stuff is dividing families. Families, members who still have some morals and some ethics and integrity about them, don't want their other family members involved with this. But they like the money, and they like the power that it gives them. That's why they continue to do what they do. It's the bottom line. And when you're at home, your neighbor has the equipment in their houses and in their yards. When I was living in America, my neighbors were using these fake looking, they put these sprinkler heads in the ground, and out of it had a black cable, and from the cable it would shoot out the frequencies. And then they would be standing out there with a water hose, watering their lawn. So it's just like, you're using your brain. Why do you have a new sprinkler system and you don't use it? And then I would take my EMF meters and I would take my radio frequency detector and put it up by their sprinklers. And sure enough, they were shooting out heavy frequencies. Sometimes they put a bunch of pile of rocks or pile of junk in their yard in one corner of their yard. The rest of the yard is fine. Up by the fence. And if you take your measuring equipment, sure enough, that's where it's coming from. And another thing the frequencies will do to let you know what direction it's coming from, it causes metal to rust. So if you have like an air conditioning unit, say on the back of your house, the frequencies are coming from your neighbor in the back of your house. If it's on the side of your house, it's coming from the neighbor on the side of your house. It will rust the metal in your air conditioning unit. And whatever window they're targeting it to send it through, and you got some metal around or near that, it's going to make it rust. So, you can clear out your house from all of this stuff, but if you continue to live alone, you'll never be able to leave the house. Because as soon as you leave, they break in and they put back what you took out. And it's not one person going in your house. It's always a team of them going into your house. That's why they're able to cover so much ground in your house when you were just gone for an hour. So, if you can get together with other targeted individuals and live together, you can have each other's back. I have been an advocate for targeted individuals starting their own communities and becoming off the grid and as self-sufficient as possible, because they have an army going on against you, and one against an army, come on, it's a matter of mathematics. Of course, they have these misinformationalists, these trolls on the internet that want to tell you it's a bad idea for victims to come together because they will just target one and they'll do this, or they'll do this to the property. And you know what? Let them do it. Because this is the thing. The main goal is for victims not to be victimized anymore. They're not going to let everybody go. I can guarantee you that. And if they choose one that turns out to be a Judas, one bad apple doesn't spoil the whole bunch. the rest of you would continue to keep your community safe, to keep this technology out of it, and to be a help to one another, to have each other's back. Don't be discouraged by these reports where everybody will sell you out. Not everybody's going to sell you out. I'm going to tell you why. Because they're not going to release everybody. You got a community of 10, 15, 20, 30 people to start. Believe me, it will grow. You think they're going to let everybody's targeting stop just to get to you because it's your property or it's you know, you're the one who started it or whatever. Don't let that stop you. Move forward. You have to move forward. If you let that stop you, you're never gonna get any other help. I'm gonna tell you that right now. The smaller countries are too afraid to go up against this big devil that's taken over America. And the bigger countries like Russia and China, well, Russia is helping people. Like Julian, I like Eric Snowden. I'm not quite sure where China's at with this. But this technology, China and Russia had before America had it. America has honed it in, the New World Order has honed it into a weapon for killing people, but mostly they were using it for espionage, or the corporate or governmental. That's where they were using it mainly for. So they have a different mindset about this technology, and we know that China has a stronghold on its people. They're not trying to slaughter them like the New World Order wants to do the world, starting with America. So, and don't believe all the lies about Putin. I went to Russia, and I went looking for Snowden, but he's got political asylum, so he's not in an embassy like Assange. So I wasn't able to meet him and talk to him. But Putin's not the one trying to kill off everybody in the world. Putin's not the one making fake food and selling it in the grocery stores that has no minerals or no vitamins. Putin's not the one with GMO. Putin's not the one with the MSG. Putin's not the one putting the chemtrails in the sky to kill off people, which is why all your animals are dying in America. Fish by the truckloads coming up on the beach dead. Whales, dolphins, birds dropping out the sky. They're very sensitive to all the radio frequency and EMF that the New World Order is creating in America because of their sonar. And that's why you see them dancing in the sky like they high on something. It's because the New World Order is sending out frequencies from the top of every cell phone tower non-stop. The government owns the top of every cell phone tower in America. Plus, they got that big HARP in Alaska that's shooting up these heavy-duty frequencies into their universe. And that's why you got Planet X coming at us like an out-of-control locomotive. They're drawing things into our universe that shouldn't be drawn. Don't buy the hype that it happened 3,500 years ago. That's their cover-up of what they're doing. That's why they got their big underground cities in America and having them done in other countries. And it's not for the people. It's for the elite to go and live while they destroy everything on top. This is all the New World Order and the CIA's global plan. So we, victims of this, are just a small part of their heinous, evil, wicked plans. We aren't. They do love this program, though. They feel that it is very successful in eliminating people, giving them cancer, and having it mixed diagnosed as hereditary, or they just call it cancer. Torturing them, experimenting on them. They love the secret silent wars that they launch against the leaders in countries like Venezuela, Brazil, Iraq. They started in Iran, but the young people rose up and took their country back. That's why they don't want any Americans over there now. That's why there's no U.S. embassy over there now. They know that the New World Order is a bunch of liars. They started with Iran, but they lost Iran. And I hope to God they never get it back. And Assyria, of course, in their crosshairs. And the reason they're trying to start a war with Putin is because he won't stop helping Syria. That's why. And that's the truth. They were lying when they said there was no boots on the ground in Syria, because it was a CIA whistleblower agent, CIA agent that blew the whistle. You can look him up. Look up Obama sentence CIA agent to 100 years for telling the truth. Look in the internet for that. He was reporting to his supervisors that there was a CIA covert black operation going on in Syria when the world didn't even know anything about Syria. Because that's one of the many countries that even the generals said there were several Middle East countries they wanted to take over for their resources. So, this is the fourth beast spoken of in the book of Revelations. The one with the claws and the teeth of iron. It will trample down the whole world with the 10 horns. Because you know they have not only America divided up in 10 regions with their 10 governors that they want to have control over the 10 regions, but they also got the world divided up in 10 regions. Which, good luck with that, because China and Russia won't go along with it. They're not going to give up their sovereignty over their country to the New World Order. It's just never going to happen. And Bible prophecy says it will never happen, because Russia is Gog, or Magog, I forget which one, and China is that 2 million man army coming out of the east that crosses the Euphrates, which, by the way, is drying up for them to cross over. So the Word of God is coming true, and yes, He is using the New World Order and the CIA to fulfill Bible prophecy because of the sins of mankind. And to try and test us who say we believe. Do we really believe? Do we really believe in Jesus as Lord and Savior now that we are victims of torture, victims of torment, victims of attempted assassination? Do we still tell people about Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life? I know it's hard. I'm a victim. And I do wrestle. But we have to keep in mind, this is all temporary. And you never want to give up the eternal for that which is temporary. So you don't want to go and be like them. You don't want to backslide and go back in the world and feel like you can drink yourself into oblivion, or, just party hard till you die, till they kill you, or whatever. You don't want to fall like that. because that's exactly what they want you to do. They want you to hate God. They want you to despise Jesus. These are Satan worshipers. Don't you know that's why they put that radio frequency particle stuff on your Bible? To keep you from reading it? Don't you know that every time you pray, that's why they want to target different, especially women. They want to target the female area on the woman when the woman's kneeling to pray. Or bombard you in your head when you're kneeling to pray. Stand up and pray. Walk and pray. Pray in tongues. Because you know they listen to everything we say. The radio frequency technology allows them to eavesdrop. You're not hearing voices in your wall, by the way. Look in your electrical sockets and things. They got radio frequency tags and particle material in there. That stuff that looks like concrete is not concrete. So anyway, hopefully, I've given some information that can help some of the victims and wake others up to the plight of the victims and help them from becoming future victims. Because I have met people who victimizing had just started and they didn't realize what was going on, but they would say things to me like how cruelly their neighbor treats them, all their neighbors shun them and all this stuff, and I'm like, they start talking about they don't like people, they don't want to be around people and all this stuff, and I'm like, you sound like you're being targeted, and it sounds like it's just starting, so you need to get on the computer and search out what a targeted individual is, for you can help prevent from becoming one that is totally taken by it. So, I hope I took a lot of mystery out of what is from what is happening to humanity, to us. And as believers in the Lord Jesus Christ, you can't hate them as much as you want to see them destroyed. You can't hate them because they're under total dominance of Satan. And you know by all the accounts in the Bible, payback hurts. And their payback is going to be a permanent payback. They won't be able to go, oops, sorry, I made a mistake, can I get another chance? None of that. Because their chances when they meet you, a victim. That's why you have to talk. You have to tell them. You have to make them remember there is a hell, and that's the road they're on. And if they choose to stay on that road, you're free and clear. But you have to remember, you have to warn them. Because God says, if you see it coming and you don't warn them, their blood is on your hands. But if you warn them and they continue to do what they do, they're going to die in their sins and their blood will be on their own heads. So, warn them. Let them know that they are being systematically used to destroy humanity, and then they're going to turn on them. And ask them, is money worth your freedom? Okay. To all Christian, all believers in the Lord Jesus Christ, I mean true believers, okay? Hang in there. We may be divided and separated and isolated, but we're connected in the Spirit, so pray for each other. Pray for the brethren, because we're not their only victims in this program, but they're slaughtering believers in the Middle East in the name of ISIS, which CIA created along with Al Qaeda and Hamas and all the other ones. And it's one of their many programs, not only to eliminate Christians from the planet, but help depopulate the planet. So anyway, hang in there and know the Lord is at work. This is fulfilling Bible prophecy. If you look up, if you search in the internet for end time scriptures and look at some of the ones that come up and see, isn't that what we're living today? So be encouraged and hang in there. This is about the only comfort. And if anybody is interested in starting a community, look me up. Of course, I don't want to start it in America, though. They have so much toxicity. The radiation levels in America, which you can also look up on the internet, are sky high. Deliberately. So, starting it in America is not an option for me. Some of you may want to try, but God says, come out from among her, my people, for you are not a partaker of her plagues. Because America is a daughter of Babylon. And if you look at the description of the daughter of Babylon, you'll know it's not Iraq. America is the only country in the world that fits that description. So, I'm signing off.